What's up, everyone? Kyle here. I am super excited to let you all know that my first published book is out now. It's called Travel Tips, a 20-something's comprehensive guide for traveling in the modern world. It's available on dorantsbookstore.com, I believe is the website. It's going to be available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble on their online websites soon as well. And you can also get a copy directly from me. You can just email me at ourtravelexperiences@outlook.com, and we can talk about a book, and I'll get a signed copy to you. I'm super excited to share it with you all. This was a dream come true for me, a bucket list item in the making, and I'm super excited to share it all with you now. So go check it out, everyone. There will be a link in the description below, and enjoy the episode. All right, welcome everyone. This is Our Travel Experiences. I'm your host, Kyle Rasmussen, and today I have another good friend with me, Nicole. Nicole, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing well. Like I said before we hopped on here, I'm excited to hear about some of your travel experiences. I know you just had a fun one, so this should be a fun conversation.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, first, just kind of give a little background of how we met, and some of those travels that we did together.
Sure. So my name is Nicole, and I live in the Chicagoland area. And I originally met in Colombia, which is
Mhm.
nice to meet for sure.
Yeah, that was wow. That was over a year ago now. Wow.
I know that came up on, I think, like my Facebook memories, and I was like, holy cow, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
I know. It's so weird with travel. I feel like on the one hand, it's like, man, I feel like that was just yesterday, but it also feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah. And then I feel like because we also just did Cuba,
Hmm.
it's like, oh, we just saw each other. Like, I feel like we see each other all the time.
I know, honestly.
Like, those trips were almost exactly a year apart.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I know.
We we
Jeez.
should just make it a recurring annual thing, you know?
We should every February/March.
Yeah, I like
Um,
it. That's a good idea. Good, for both of us in both of the areas where we live, that's probably a good time to get out of where we live and go somewhere warm, like Colombia or Cuba. So I'm in for that.
yeah, seriously, because I can't handle that much gray in my life.
I know by that time of the year, it's like, okay, I'm ready to be done with this.
I know, especially those two, because they're warm and sunny and colorful. So it just has all the things.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. We should definitely make that happen.
yeah, I agree. Annual trip.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm really excited to hear about this because out of nowhere, I just all of a sudden saw that you were like in Europe. So kind of share about your trip to France here and how that went.
Yeah, so that was I guess just true to my personality was something that I booked fairly last minute. uh, in February, I did Cuba, and then I went straight from Cuba to Cancun.
Hmm.
And when I got home, my son Logan was like, "You were gone for too long." So I was like, "Okay, that was a little long. I definitely would not have pre-planned trips back to back like that for that reason." Um,
Hmm.
so I was like, all right, let's figure out somewhere to go for spring break and we'll do it. So we were actually looking at doing like a beach, something beachy and warm, like scuba diving. That's what we were thinking about. Um, but the flights to go to like the Caribbean from Chicago anyway, there was like a layover on all the flights and just, as I'm sure you can attest, just traveling, taking a 4-hour flight and making it an 18-hour flight because of a layover
Yeah.
is just doesn't sit right with my soul.
Uh-huh. It's brutal.
Especially traveling with my son who is 8, so it's not like he's little, but it's not like he's gonna do great with all of that downtime.
Hmm.
So I figured, well, if we're gonna have to take a long flight, let's go somewhere worth it. So
Yeah.
so that's when I started looking into Europe, and him and I actually have been to Italy before. I didn't really want to redo that. So we landed on France because he was super excited to see the Eiffel Tower. They have Disneyland Paris. So yeah, so I did that trip together relatively quickly based on like those.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember you saying anything about that when we were in Cuba together, and then all of a sudden you were there.
Yeah, that was definitely not on the docket for sure.
Well, that's cool. So what all did you guys do while you were there?
Yeah, so we doing like all the things that you would expect. So we did the Eiffel Tower, we went to the Basilica, we did the Arc de Triomphe, did the Louvre Museum, like we did all of the things. And then like our big day was Disneyland Paris.
How was that?
It was so awesome. Like so just for people that have been to like Disney World in Florida, it is nothing like that.
Really?
So that park in Florida is humongous, and they have, I don't even know, like 5 other parks. Disneyland Paris is essentially just one park. So it's a little more relatable to Disneyland in California.
Okay.
On a smaller scale. And personally, I thought like his age group, probably like that 8 to 10, even maybe a little bit younger, was perfect for this park because there were not very many like big roller coasters.
Mhm.
So they were all pretty easy to do with like a younger person.
Yeah.
And it was cool. Like it was fine for me. Like we were able to do rides together that weren't super crazy, but still in his comfort zone of like adventureness.
Hmm.
And like one day I thought was perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I didn't really think we needed another day. You definitely could have broken up 2 days, but it's from where we were at, we were staying like in the heart of Paris. This was about a 45-minute ride out.
Mm.
Um, so we were aiming for one day.
Yeah. What did your son think? Did he want to do another day?
I don't think so. I think the one day was perfect. We were able to hit all of the rides. And they also had like the characters there, so different characters that you could see at different times.
Hmm.
Few characters while we were there. And I felt like it was a good amount of time. I don't think you really would need another day.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, interesting. I'm always curious because I know there's a few of those parks around the world. Actually, I just had a friend who went to Disneyland Tokyo. It looks like she had a blast, but it's cool. Like same thing, like with you know, uh, like chains around the world, like McDonald's. Like it's the same company, but it's a different experience and different type of feel to it around the world.
Yeah, sure. And this one, we so uh, like 2 years ago, I think it was 2021. There was like a brief lull in COVID, and this was another one of those trips where I was like, all right, there's a window. Disney World was having like massive ticket sales and hotel sales, and the parks were operating at 50% capacity. And so we flew down to Florida. Like, I think I planned that one like a week or two before spring break. I'm really great at the last minute trip planning, apparently.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, so our last Disney experience was totally different because it was still in COVID. So people were still wearing masks, and you could take pictures with characters, but you couldn't like hug them or interact with them. You still had to social distance.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so the experiences between the two were like night and day just because of what was happening
Hmm.
in the world. But so it did seem a little bit more fun because I feel like you don't really realize how cool it is to see the characters up close until you get to do it.
Yeah.
You know, we saw Captain Hook, who is just like moody and like causing shenanigans and and being Captain Hook, which is like a cool experience that you don't get to have when you have to social distance.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
from that regard too, I felt like it was so much better getting to interact with the characters.
Yeah. And I feel like, probably that, your son being 8, that's like a perfect time to like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, and just getting to meet characters, he's like still into that, which is fun because like I'm still into that.
Yeah.
Like all the characters.
Yeah, who had more fun? You or him?
I don't know. Definitely a topic. But he did ask me if we could move to France, and I've never heard anything more seriously.
But then you start looking on Zillow like, oh, can we? I don't know.
Yeah, would it really be that difficult? We're already here. Maybe we just stay.
Yeah. That'd be funny.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Did you what kind of food did you guys have while you were there?
It's really not that exciting because again, he is 8.
Yeah.
So he's pretty picky. But he was still super into like the croissants and doing hot chocolate and like those type of very French things. And
Hmm.
I think the thing he liked the best, he called a mixed tea, which is basically just a ham and cheese sandwich on a baguette with butter.
Yeah.
Which, to give him credit, is amazing. But I think that was like his favorite thing. But like the first night when we went out to dinner, I googled an Italian restaurant. He wanted buttered noodles, which I was like, Logan, you're really killing me here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's,
we didn't like branch out too much, but we were still able to hit some of the staples, which was fine.
mhm. Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, you gotta adjust to who you're traveling with, I guess, but
Oh
um still got to, experience some of it, at least some of the food culture.
yeah, and there were restaurants that, I mean, all the restaurants that we went to were like super accommodating. Because like I said, the Italian restaurant that we went to didn't have buttered noodles on their menu. But the I'm pretty sure she was the owner of the restaurant was like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. We'll make whatever he wants. So I was like, so then I got to try. I had like a ravioli that, in my opinion, was more like had a French spin, um,
Hmm.
like Alfredo, which is not really something that you find in Italy. So I was like, all right, deal with this.
Did you get some good food pictures?
I did. I was literally on Instagram because so far everything I've posted have been attractions, and I was like,
I know, yeah. We're missing the food pictures here.
I know. I feel like I've really been slacking on that lately.
Yeah, yeah. For those listeners, Nicole is like the best food photographer out there.
Oh,
You make all the food look so amazing.
oh, I appreciate that you dubbed me as the best. I'm gonna put that on my Instagram.
I know. I'm like, when we were in Colombia, I was like, I'm pretty sure we just had the same food, but then I see the picture of it. I'm like, man, that looks way better.
Yeah. Man, I've been trying. I like and I've been following other people who are like food bloggers. Um, because that would really be a great dream of mine is to be a food blogger.
Yeah.
So I've been trying. What I need to really remember is to take more videos so I could make like reels and
Mm.
stuff.
Yeah, it's all about the reels these days.
So I'm working on it.
Uh, yeah, I guess what would you need to do to be a food blogger? Like how could you make that a job?
I don't even know. I because I have my LinkedIn public, and I tag like all of the rest because you hoping that like that brings more people to the page. I did start noticing like in your stories, if you tag not only the restaurant but the location, you get like 3 times as many views just for people searching
Mhm.
that city.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think it's just all about trying to grow your page or your following first, and
Mhm.
once you have that goal, you could be like, hey, you probably should pay me to come visit your restaurant.
Yeah.
How I
I
have
mean,
it in my mind is how it would work. If anybody
yeah.
knows, feel free to let me know.
Yeah, hopefully someone listening to this will know. But yeah, no, I feel like that's a win-win for both parties is just be like, hey, like I'll paint me a little bit and I want to promote this. We can make you really popular and I get paid or get some free food out of it kind of thing too.
I know. I would honestly right now settle just for free food.
Yeah. I'm like, this is what I'm gonna spend my money on anyways.
Right. There's one, I'm sure you've seen it because I feel like I post them all the time, but it's like a full take on a Nashville hot chicken sandwich.
Oh,
Yeah, and it is so good. And I post them every time I drive by. I stop there. I always post it, and I'm always messaging them like, "Hey, I'll visit all your locations."
have they responded?
They do reply, but they're always just like, "Haha, thanks for coming."
That's funny.
I'll wear them down eventually.
Yeah, you just gotta keep being annoying,
Yeah,
keep being the squeaky wheel.
yeah, that's the plan.
That's funny. What I guess in Cuba and Colombia too, if we can remember that long ago, what were your favorite meals on both of those trips?
Ooh. Um. Well, I'll start with Colombia since we went further away. What really surprised me about Colombia was the amount of like 4 and 5 star bougie restaurants that they had.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we, especially like the second half of the trip when we were in Medellin, um, we went out to dinner every night to a restaurant that in Chicago would be on the fancier side,
Hmm.
and especially like a heavy ticket meal, um, which was not the case. Like they were nice restaurants with good food that were cheap, but also I felt like on the higher end of things.
Hmm.
Makes sense?
Yeah, yeah, they all seemed really nice. It was definitely like fancier restaurants, like you kind of dressed up a little bit and the atmosphere was a big part of those restaurants, I feel like.
Yeah. So I felt like that really surprised me. I'm trying to remember if it was like a meal that stood out when we were there, but that was so long, like not
Yeah.
anything specifically. Um,
Well, okay, I do remember now we had uh the Michelin star restaurant.
oh yeah, we did that. That was really
That was
um
a cool experience. I've never been to anything like that. That
yeah,
was
me
wild.
either. And there's actually a restaurant that is similar to that in Chicago that does like that, 18 million course experience.
Yeah.
Um, but I've never been to the one local. But that
Yeah.
was a cool thing to do also in another country. Just
Mhm.
is like when they poured chocolate on your hands that you were licking your hands, like where would you ever go that you're like, yes, this seems like something we should be doing.
I know that was wild. Like this is one of the courses where we're just gonna pour chocolate over your hands and you're gonna lick it off.
Right? In the middle of a fancy restaurant that you guys
Yeah.
have to come to.
Yeah, that was quite the experience. That was a lot of fun and some very good photogenic courses, I would say.
And then I also really liked when we did the boat day and we had like the family style lunch.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was food there was really good. Plus, I just really like family style, which could be because I'm Italian. Because then I feel like it's more of like that experience where you're in everybody's faces and you're bonding more because food is being shared, and
Mhm.
I just really like that camaraderie. Especially, I feel like we do all of those, solo traveling, but not alone group trips. Those types of things I feel like really get the group bonding in
Mhm.
a way that you're not really because it's just food.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that, but yeah, you're right. I mean, having to share, all move the plates around and everything, and just you're all in the same, the same spoon and fork kind of thing. Like, you're gonna get to talking with people a lot more than if you had your own separate meal.
Yeah, for sure. I like it brings like a totally different level of like intimacy almost.
Hmm. Yeah.
Just
Oh, what'd you think about the fish? I forgot about the fish. When we went to the little village there, and they just had the fish with the
oh,
everything.
if I'm being completely honest, that made me so nervous. Because the fish looked a little rough. Like I'm not
Uh-huh.
like a head on a fish type of meal, but the fish and the mystery soup, I was like, nah, easy on this one. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a little sketchy. It was good, but yeah, it was a little sketchy there. And then, I mean, you had to pick around. I mean, all the bones were in it still and everything.
Yeah, it was.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What was your favorite for Cuba?
In Cuba, I feel like, I mean, the one that's really standing out to me, which could be just because it was a whole experience, just in general, was when we had the like the double decker lobsters.
Oh yeah.
Um, because one, I don't know that I've ever seen anybody plate two lobster tails together like that. And two, which has nothing to do with the food, but we had the Havana Queens, which had their show there, and
Hmm.
I feel like just like the quality of meal and the show and getting to like interact with the Havana Queens again, just like the whole experience with them made it so much better.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. That was a really fun meal. And yeah, I mean with the lobster, I'll be honest, I'm not a big lobster fan or just seafood in general, but that lobster was amazing. Like basically melted in your mouth and it was just that was perfect.
Yeah,
And then
I
the atmosphere and everything.
would just order lobster on my own either. But like the way they served it, like the presentation looked really cool, and just like the sauce that was on it was really good. Plus, I just kind of feel like when you're pairing food with an experience, it just makes everything so much better.
Hmm.
Um, Plus, since we got to meet the Havana Queens earlier that day and hang out with them and interact with them on a more personal level, I whole experience kind of tied everything together that made it like a standout moment to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that was such a fun day, and that was, we went and had that dinner right after we did the cigar tasting, which was incredible as well, I think.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, that was quite the day.
Yeah, that was a good day. And I feel like you just have days like that, the food like just enhances the memory
Hmm.
of what you're experiencing.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
So
Um,
next year when we go on our third annual trip, we'll have to go somewhere to keep our salsa skills up.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, we've done salsa in both places we went.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll have to find another FTLO trip with a salsa lesson in it.
I know we're gonna be pros pretty soon here.
And, our one lesson a year is going to make us, Dancing with the Stars level.
Right up there. Like
Uh,
we have a lot of salsa experience.
yeah,
Like what more do you really ask for?
I know, right? I thought it was funny how they, when we saw the Havana Queens, they went and did that demonstration for us, and then like, okay, now your turn. Like, I don't want to follow that.
Right? And my favorite part, this is such a weird favorite part about this trip is I feel like this is the first time where I've been on an FTLO trip where the majority of the people came from actual cold weather states. You know,
Oh,
and when you're like plucking these people who are from, Chicago and Rhode Island and Washington, which are states that get actually cold, and you place us in, the summer warm weather country. We're hot.
yeah,
So the Havana Queens went out there, they're dancing, they're making it look effortless, and it's no big deal. And then it was our turn, and the group of us were like sweating our asses off
yeah.
because now we're hot and you're making us exercise. Just like
Uh,
so great.
yeah, that's funny. That was pretty hot in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad we went to that little beach restaurant right after that. I think that was perfect.
yeah, that was otherwise I think all of us would have died.
Yeah.
We
Especially since we were in the cars all day too. Like we were just out in the hot sun
did
all day.
all day. Yeah, we definitely needed that moment to just chill and regroup and bring our body temperature back to normal.
Yeah. The mojitos also really helped too, I think.
They did. I made a whole reel. That was my first, I think one of the first reels I've ever made was I took pictures of all the mojitos. So there was probably like 20 mojitos in that reel.
Oh my gosh, I know everywhere we went, like here, you gotta have a mojito.
Yeah, I definitely was not mad about that.
Uh, that's fun. I love the FTLO trips with, because I think that's part of what they offer in those trips is those, drinks when you show up to a restaurant and stuff. I just feel like FTLO does a really good job with that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and like getting you into an experience that you probably wouldn't have found on your own.
Yeah, yeah, honestly.
Like if we had gone to Cuba on our own, would we have found a dance class with the Havana Queen? No,
No, definitely not.
right?
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
and I feel like some of those things might be hard to do on your own too, like especially in a place like Cuba. So it's nice to like, you got a local who's like, oh yeah, I'll take you here, here, and here kind of thing.
yeah. Um, and like the other, like when we went to the farm and had like the literal farm to table lunch, like
That's very fresh.
yeah, like that's probably not an experience that you would have found going to Cuba on your own,
Hmm. Yeah, and everyone would have even like thought about that.
right?
Like, thought that was a thing that could happen.
Yeah, or that they had such a large farm and it wasn't
Hmm.
that far away from where we were staying to be able to have that like more country experience.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Um,
cool too.
Yeah. Well, what's the next warm weather place that you're traveling to?
Well, I'm going to Vegas next week, but that's for work, so I don't know if that really counts.
That's still a fun place to go for work, I guess.
Yeah, so that on the docket, and then I don't think I have any like warm weather trips lined up because the next one that I have after that is London in June. So it should be warm, even though it's not a warm weather area.
Nice. Have you been to London before?
No, I haven't. Only to the airport.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I like London. It's a cool city.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. That there's a lot of things to do there, and I think planning on taking a train. I just had a brain fart. We're taking a train up to Scotland for I think a day or two to do that, which would be cool.
I bet that train ride will be fun.
Yeah, and it's those like express. I don't know what they call it, like the bullet train.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be a fairly quick train ride, also.
You can live out your Hogwarts dreams.
I'll bring my wand.
That's funny.
No,
Yeah, I know they have like a little platform 9 3/4 there at King's Cross Station.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, you'll have to check that out for sure if you're a Harry Potter fan.
No, I'm definitely gonna my wand.
Yeah, they still got lots of Harry Potter stuff from what I've seen. I think I was there 2019. I think, yeah, before COVID, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's Harry Potter stuff everywhere still.
Oh, that's awesome.
What do you normally like to do when you're traveling?
Um, well, I feel like at this point in my life, one of my main goals is to just start going which is another reason why I didn't really want to go to Italy for spring break again, because we're Italian family that lives in Italy. We've been there a lot. Italy is amazing. Like one of my favorite restaurants is in Italy. So I'm not opposed to Italy, but I just feel like going new places is kind of that because you get new experiences, you get the new culture and cuisine, and I just feel like every time you go somewhere new, and maybe it's like outside of your comfort zone, it just makes it that much better because it's a completely new experience. And two countries are the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like you're getting something new and enriching every time you go. So that's kind of keep going somewhere new.
Yeah. Do you feel like you learn something each time you go someplace new, or grow from that experience?
Yeah. Like especially like when we did Colombia and Cuba, which are two countries that really don't have a great reputation.
Mm-hmm.
And you experience the same things when you tell your families where you're going. They're like, "Oh my God, why are you going? Like, you're gonna end up in the cartel." And it's like, all right, guys, chill. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then when you get to countries and experience it yourself, you realize that is not at all what these countries are about.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of feel like, which I've never gone into, like I didn't go to Cuba or Colombia thinking, oh, we're going to become drug mules. I went into it open mind as this is a new experience. We can see firsthand what's going on, especially in Cuba, where they're like, oh, our politics are just complicated. But the people are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Which if we didn't go, we never would have known. You'll
Yeah.
never know like how amazing that the people there actually are.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I mean I always encourage everyone to travel, especially to a place like Colombia or Cuba or some place like that, that maybe has, not a great reputation, or is, maybe a poorer country or lesser known, lesser visited, because those are some of the nicest, most friendliest people you'll ever meet. They're so welcoming, and you get to see the place for what it really is, not, the little snippet of the bad thing that happened, on the news.
Right.
Uh,
1 years ago or whatever the situation was, for sure.
yeah, yeah. I
And then
think it's just, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and plus then too, I feel like when you come back from trips like this, people are typically more interested, because one, especially like my family is like, oh, you make, and then two, they're more interested to hear what your experience was because people are so curious about these lesser known, I don't want to say lesser known countries, but countries that have a stigma.
Yeah.
So then you get to come back and pretty much debunk the stigma, which I feel.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's awesome. You can be an advocate for, for those people, a little bit, like when you come home.
Yeah.
I definitely felt that with Cuba because I had so many people that were like, "Why would you go there? Like,
Yeah.
that's a dangerous place. You shouldn't go there." Blah blah blah. All these bad things, and I'm like, man, that's not the case at all. Like, those people were super nice. Like, the food was great. It was a great time. I really enjoyed it. I felt that was one of the safest places I've felt around the world, honestly.
Yeah. And I feel like too, because you go running every morning, like if you didn't feel safe, you wouldn't be running,
Yeah, yeah.
And like you kept that up in both the countries that we've gone to together, which also I feel helps like kind of debunk the stigma a little bit.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's important to just to share your experiences, which is part of why I have this have this podcast, and show people that, the world's not
Yeah.
our preconceived notions necessarily.
Yeah. And then I feel like when you come back and you're talking about your great experiences and especially how great like the culture and the people are, hopefully it encourages somebody to like take that leap and go.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, everyone should go travel somewhere, whether it's for a day or a week or a month or whatever it is. Like, just go experience something new and a different way of life.
Yeah, for sure. And like when we went to France, Logan's passport was expired. So if people need help getting an expedited passport, you call me and I will take you.
Okay, good to know. I
Yeah,
I need to renew mine, so I might hit you up for that.
yeah, do it now. An experience.
Uh,
But I'll help any
yeah,
if
well,
that's what you need in order to go somewhere is just help getting a passport, I'll do that.
what, you got like a little backroom passport business going on?
Yeah. Espe- Especially, well, I don't know if you noticed, but we were in New York for a day. And the whole reason we went to New York was because I needed to renew Logan's passport.
Oh wow.
And when you're doing it rushed, like because you have to go and hope that you're walking out the physical passport, you have
Mhm.
an appointment, and you can only make an appointment within so many days of the trip that you're leaving the country. And when I called, the only available appointment close to Chicago, which is what's crazy, was New York.
Jeez.
So I was like, all right, Logan, we're going to New York.
That's wild. That's
Yeah,
not close to Chicago at all.
no, Chicago office was booked. People were like, really? It's Chicago. It's whatever. We had a day in New York one, so
That's fun. Little extra trip there.
a bonus trip.
That's funny.
And
Um,
My family's always like, we can't keep track. Well, first you're in Chicago, then you're in New York, then you're in France, and then you're in Cuba. What the heck is going on?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta get out there and explore. I always feel like the world is my home, not just where I live at this current, day.
Yeah, sure. That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, so what speaking of Chicago, what do you recommend for restaurants, one, and then just for things to do when people go visit Chicago?
Oh, I'll start with things because I feel like that's a shorter list. Um, the things that I would always recommend doing is hitting up the Art Institute because it's amazing and it's humongous. And they typically have very popular works of art and shows at any given.
Okay.
Into the art scene, I would 100% go visit that. And then if you're looking for an experience, I would go to, well, it's the John Hancock Building, but it's currently not called the John Hancock Building anymore. But they haven't renamed it, so we're still calling it the John Hancock Building. Kind of like the Sears Tower.
Yeah.
Name, but if you're local to Chicago, it's up Sears Tower. But this John Hancock Building, which I don't know if a lot of people know, has a 360 view of the city. And they also have up on the observatory, they call it the tilt. And it's essentially a glass window that you stand in and it tilts you out over the city.
Oh,
so you
sounds
get
terrible.
Yeah, so you get the views and you get like an adrenaline rush. And it's cool because, and I might be giving out a secret, but if you go do it, I feel like you need to know, is that the window, it tilts you out at 3 different angles.
Ooh.
Tilts you out to the first one, and then it brings you back. And then it tilts you out to the second one, and then it brings you back. But then it tilts you out to the third one, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but there's a specific angle that when your body reaches it, it feels like you're falling. And so the third degree angle of the window is that feeling. So actually, the first time I did it, there's a picture of me and my brother before, and we're looking like, yeah, this is gonna be awesome. And then I take a picture during, and the picture is just only of my brother because I chickened out.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if I can do that.
But it's so cool. And you can step back. So if you do chicken out like I did, you just step back out the window and it's fine. You're not like trapped in or anything.
Yeah.
But plus and not to like knock on the Sears Tower, but I feel like the view from the John Hancock Building is you get the entire city.
Mm.
And you can see everything. You can see the lake, you can see straight, you can see down Wacker, you can see the river, like you see all of the things.
Okay.
If you have time for only one tall tower, that would be my recommendation.
Okay.
The views are awesome. And then as far as food, so many.
What would be like the one place you would keep going back to over and over again?
So my absolute favorite restaurant in the city, it's called Gibson's Italian, which is an Italian restaurant. And if you do go there, you have to get the banana gelato dessert.
Ooh.
Yeah, it is hands down the best dessert ever. It's like an Oreo crust with banana gelato, and it has like a chocolate covered like hard shell, and then they put banana slices and caramel drizzle on top.
Ooh.
It's amazing.
That sounds amazing.
And they actually have it's kind of like a baked Alaska, a slice of baked Alaska that they bring to the table and light it on fire. Which I feel like you just have to get because it's on fire. So things like that, I really like that. But also if you're looking for something like more low key, pretty much anything along the river. Like there's a really cool pizza place along the river. Don't touch the water, but you couldn't just look at it. And there's a lot of restaurants that have really great outdoor seating, so you can sit along the river, which is just so cool. I mean, the water. Okay. I can't stress this enough. Don't touch the water. Just look at it.
Yeah. Not the cleanest water.
Ew, no. Have you? I mean, even if you just look at pictures, you'll like throw a third of the water.
Yeah, I remember taking that little river tour, and they're like, "Yeah, this water is not good."
Yeah, and I'm not sure what the stat is now, but at one point there was like 75 different species of like crazy fish that lived in there because the water was so disgusting.
You got like Aquaman living in there.
Yeah, he's probably like, meh, I'm gonna stay out of there too.
That's funny.
But it's nice, and like because there's so many moving bridges, like the pictures that you can get down the river are awesome, and because there's so many like tall buildings, you go at like dusk, just the reflection off of the river and off of the buildings is just, it's just awesome.
Dang. Yeah, Chicago's such a cool place. Fun city.
Yeah. Hit me up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Nicole, I know we both. What was that?
I said, come hungry.
Yeah. Be ready for some great Instagram food pictures.
We'll put it together. I haven't bought a ring yet. My mom said that's a little too much, and I'll probably lose some friends. But I'm considering.
Okay. Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
I won't have any friends, but I'll have an awesome ring light and great food pictures.
Yeah, who needs friends when you got amazing food? That's funny. Well, I know we both got some time constraints here, so that's probably a good place to end it. But any last words to the listeners or stories that you want to share?
I mean, my biggest piece of advice would just be to book the trip. I know there's always some maybe anxiety or maybe you can't afford it, but you'll never have that experience again. And if it's something that you've been thinking about, just you always make more money. You know, experiences are something that you might not always be able to do. Mm-hmm. So that would be my piece of advice. Just go do it.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, cards are for. No. Don't come to me for pineapple advice, just food.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that's a different conversation. But no, I agree. I mean, you know, it's if you get the opportunity, I definitely agree. Just do it. You won't regret it for sure. It's worth the experience. It's worth the cost. You know, there's a lot of great things to see and do, and like we were talking about, I think it really does change you and make you a better person and see the world differently. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I can't stress that enough. It's just like you won't regret it. You're gonna have an awesome time. And if you are traveling by yourself, I mean, we love FTLO. Like look into group trips. Then you are, what do they say? Solo but not alone. Or something. Yeah. So, I like that. Yeah. So definitely just do it. Yeah. I like it. Well, Nicole, thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing your experiences today, and look forward to taking some food pictures with you around the world. Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to our next annual trip. Yeah. We'll definitely have to plan that soon. Yeah, I'm in. Yep. Well, awesome, Nicole. Well, have a great rest of the day, and look forward to seeing you somewhere around the world soon. All right. Sounds great. All right. Have a good one. Thanks. You too. Bye. Bye. Hey everybody, Kyle here. If you enjoyed today's show and want more, you can always check out every episode on Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, and now Amazon Music as well. Just search for Our Travel Experiences on any of those platforms and it will pop up. You can also find everything all in one place on my website, ourtravelexp.com. And if you want to see my travel pictures as well as travel pictures from guests on the show, you can check them out on Instagram. The page is called Our Travel Experiences Podcast. And if you want to share your own pictures on the Instagram page or be a guest on the podcast, you can message me via that Instagram page or email me at ourtravelexperiences@outlook.com. I would love to see your pictures and hear about your travel experiences, so please send them my way. And if that isn't enough for you, make sure to check out my weekly YouTube show, From Around the World Fridays. Every Friday, I'm taking 5 to 10 minutes to answer questions from listeners, share some souvenirs that I bought over the years, share my postcards over the years that I've accumulated, or share videos and pictures from one particular city or country that I visited, and so much more. So check it out, guys. You won't be disappointed, and make sure you go subscribe to that as well. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you somewhere around the world soon.